Hey, so we just got done with my last game for the night. This one was against Blue-White Control. It was really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. My opponent, I imagine, not so much, but that's how Lantern works. They were a good sport about it, so I'll give them that. So I kept this hand. It was 2-land hand. I had Enduring Bridge. I just need a third land, and I can land a bridge. And I also got some mill rocks here, so if I get an Academy of Ruins, I can self-mill at will and get what I need. So here, whenever my opponent plays Ancestral Colonnade tapped, I'm pretty happy. I end up drawing a Spellskite, so that's cool stuff. Abrupt Decay. This is the build where I started using Decay's main instead of Sun Droplets. No point. I don't run basics, so there's no point in me searching for that path, for the path thing. Opponent tries to get rid of my mill rocks here. I draw another bridge. And look at Ruins. So now I play Bridge. And it sticks. Surprise, surprise. So now I know my opponent's trying to dig. Fortunately, the thing about the mill, or not the mill, the Blue-White Control is they don't have much of a clock. So I have plenty of time if I need. Now I could use Ruins to put Lantern back on top, but I don't have the mana to play it, so there's no point. But now I have the Opal. There is a point. So I put Lantern back on top. I have the mana to play it. And now I have pretty good control. Now I don't want my opponent to draw that Vendilion Clique. I don't want my opponent to see what's in my hand, and I don't want my opponent to get rid of any of the cards that I have in my hand. Especially that Abrupt Decay. That's going to be sweet. So I don't want my opponent to get that Ghost Quarter. So I tried to decay with everything on stack so I can get my mill rocks back, but my opponent is smart. Snap casts a Cryptic so he can balance his thing and draw that card, but I get my lock pieces back on. Now my opponent is able to get Detention Sphere back, but this time he's going for Bridge. Doesn't know that I have 2 more bridges in hand. Does know that I have 1 more on top though. So I don't want my opponent to get all that stuff there. Now I do force my opponent to do a think twice there to get that Cryptic. So go ahead and Inquisition. It turns out my opponent had another sphere that I did not know about, so that could have been bad. So I play out my next bridge. I draw all 4 bridges this game, which is nuts. So now I know my opponent's like, okay, so he's going to Detention Sphere and get 2 bridges now. Look at that. But my opponent does not know I have yet another bridge in hand, and I'm at 1 life. But this is where I play my land, play another bridge, and I'm stabilized. That's game and pretty much at this point. It's a close one. So now I'm just looking. My opponent's got that Ghost Quarter, can take out my Ruins, unfortunately. But I use my Shredder to get back an Abrupt Decay, and I put that Shredder back on top. And I'll play the Shredder, and I'll just hold on to the Decay for a little bit. I decided not to shuffle because I like that Stirrings on top. So, get rid of the Detention Sphere, get my bridges all back now. And it's time to cut out the shenanigans with the Ghost Quarter, thanks to Pithing Needle. Now I do use the shuffle ability because I don't really care for the card I had on top, and I wouldn't mind taking my chances to get a better card, which I get Surgical Extraction, which is fantastic. So I go ahead and get the Cryptic. Turns out my opponent has no main deck answers. Well, my opponent has 1 Sun Titan left in the library and no chances to draw. So this is pretty much game at this point. There's no purpose, but my opponent keeps going anyways. And, and quits. Here we go. So game 2. As usual, I'm afraid of my opponent siding in Stony Silence, so I do side in my Scylla Primordium, but I have the 2 main deck Abrupt Decays. I like this hand because I have the ruins, and I have duress and bridge, and those should keep me alive for a little bit. I was hoping to draw into a blue mana source, which I do. That Ghost Quarter does have me worried though, so I duress, get rid of that Intention Sphere. I'm afraid of my opponent's Vendilion Clique here, but my opponent chooses not to click and chooses to go get a wall, play a Wall of Omens instead. This gives me the opening to draw bridge. Now if my had played click, I still would have drawn into bridge, it turns out, but still, you know, it's good to have. I'll play that Ghost Quarter because I'm hoping my opponent will tap that Ghost Quarter so I can Ghost Quarter his Ghost Quarter, but no such luck. So now I draw into that Abrupt Decay. Ooh, I did not notice. Oh yeah, I had to go get a pizza, but at this point my opponent said okay. Counters my Ether Grid. That would have been my clock. Smart idea, I think. Another bridge. So I play it just in case. Kind of lure out a Detention Sphere if my opponent has it. Use the Stirrings, get a Lantern. Now I don't want my opponent to have that Restoration Angel, so I decay my opponent's Stony Silence to turn on my Mill Rocks, to turn on the lock. There we go. But the opponent does not know I have yet another Abrupt Decay. Yeah, that Glenda could have been troublesome, but fortunately that's the only one that my opponent had in the deck. Leyline doesn't hurt me so much because I still have Gold Caller's Bells. And I wasn't sure if my opponent had Engineered Explosives, but I put the needle on Engineered Explosives anyways, because really that would have been the one card that I would have been worried about after this. Because Snapcaster shut off, I can stop Stony Silence. I noticed those Meddling Mages. That was a neat thing my opponent decided to side in, so that was kind of cool. I let my opponent have that Stony Silence because I can sack Shredder in response and get Decay back, so either way the Stony Silence is dead. I would have preferred to get Academy Ruins back, but oh well, you know. Priorities, you know. I had a choice here between the Spellscat and the Gold Caller's Bell. I was leaning more towards ensuring that I had a firm control going on here. Spellscats would have only been useful if my opponent ended up getting more Detention Spheres, which they'd have to really draw into them, which is not happening. So, look at that, Seal of Primordium. Don't have to worry about the Snapcaster thanks to the Grafdigger's Cage. I go ahead and I get rid of all Detention Spheres. That leaves my opponent with no answers that I know of except for Cryptic, and so my opponent concedes. And I can easily stop the Cryptics by just making them so he can't draw them. So yeah, that's game 2 against Blue-White Control. Thanks for watching.